The battlefield stretched as far as the eye could see. Once it had been a peaceful valley full of green grass, quiet rivers, and small farming towns. Children once played near stream banks, and birds used to fly over wide fields. But now, the ground was marked by deep craters, broken machines, and silent ruins. The air carried a faint smell of metal and dust. Every stone and tree on this land had seen conflict. This planet was called Eden 47, one of the many worlds humans had settled among the stars. For many years it had been known as a place of calm and hope, but now it had become the center of a battle that determined something far greater than territory. It had become a symbol, and symbols, once challenged, must be defended with every remaining breath. The enemy was the Vorak Dominion, a powerful, alien empire known for strict discipline and quiet strength. They did not shout during battle. They did not show anger, joy, or fear. Their tall armored figures marched in steady formations, unmoved by emotion. Wherever they conquered, they placed their steel banners into the soil, marking the land as their own. They believed that once they planted their banner, the land accepted their rule, and so they had planted their banners here. Dozens of tall silver poles stood across the valley, their sharp edges shining in cold sunlight. To them, the battlefield was already won. But to humans, a banner was not victory. To humans, victory was never truly written until hope was gone, and hope still lived. Among the ruins of an old defense station, a group of human soldiers remained. Their uniforms were worn, their supplies were low, and their situation was difficult. But their hearts refused to yield. Their leader was Captain Aaron Hale, a man in his mid-30s with steady eyes and a calm voice. He had once been a teacher before the war. Now he had become a commander, not because he sought honor, but because others trusted him. Captain Aaron stood on the broken platform of the station and looked out across the valley. He saw the Vorak patrols moving slowly, confident in their control. He also saw something else, a small, weathered human banner lying on the ground where it had fallen. Its fabric was torn, its colors faded, but something about it still shined. He walked down, picked it up carefully, and held it with respect. It was the last banner from the first human colony that had settled this planet. On it, a symbol of unity between Earth and its outer colonies was still visible. The moment he touched it, a memory returned. Children laughing, songs sung at celebrations, farmers helping one another. Simple joy. This place had not always known war. Behind him, a young soldier named Jaren approached. Jaren was only 19, the youngest in the unit. He had joined not because he wanted to fight, but because his home was here. He had been born on Eden 47, and this land was the only world he had ever known. "Captain?" Jaren asked softly. "Do we still have a chance?" Aaron looked at him. He could see the worry, the exhaustion, the unspoken fear hidden behind the young soldier's careful expression. "Yes," Aaron said. He spoke slowly, not loud, not intense, but certain. "As long as we stand here, even if it is only us, the land is not theirs. This battlefield still remembers us." Jaren did not understand what the captain meant at first. How could land remember? But as he looked toward the hills, the old farms, and the broken towns, something inside him stirred. He realized that every building, every stone, every piece of soil had been touched by human hands. These fields had been used for planting crops. The rivers had been named by human voices. The air had carried human laughter for many years. Maybe the land did remember. Inside the station, the rest of the soldiers prepared supplies. Lyra, the chief engineer, was repairing a damaged transmitter. She was a thoughtful woman with sharp eyes and quiet presence. She rarely spoke more than necessary, but when she did, her words carried meaning. Near her, Sergeant Riven checked the remaining weapons. He was strong, calm, and experienced. Captain Aaron was the heart of the group. Riven was the shield. His voice was deep and steady, the kind of voice that made people feel safe just by hearing it. They gathered around a table, and Aaron joined them. "Listen carefully," Aaron said. The Vorak believe they have already taken this battlefield. They believe we will retreat. They think we are waiting to surrender. Riven nodded. They do not understand us. No, Aaron agreed. They do not. Lyra finished repairing the transmitter and set it on the table. We can send one last message, she said, to any remaining human fleets in nearby sectors. But the signal will require power from the station's main core. Once we activate it, the Vorak will detect us. That means they will come, Jaren said quietly. That means, Riven corrected, we must be ready. Aaron looked at each of them, one by one. We do not send a call for rescue, he said. We send a message of truth. We send a message that says, we are still here. This land is still ours. The soldiers understood. Even if no help arrived, the message itself mattered. It told the universe that humanity did not abandon its ground. It told the Vorak that victory could not be claimed by simply planting a banner. Hours passed slowly, and night began to fall over the valley. The sky turned deep blue, then slowly darkened further, revealing distant stars. Far away, strange lights from the Vorak encampment moved like slow-burning embers. Their machines hummed steadily, cold and efficient. In the human station, soft lights flickered inside. Soldiers secured armor, checked weapons, and said quiet words to themselves. Some whispered the names of loved ones, some remembered old songs, some simply breathed and stayed still. Aaron held the banner again. He tied it carefully to a short metal pole and stood it beside the transmitter. It did not look new or strong, but it looked alive. When the moment came, Lyra placed her hand on the transmitter switch. Ready? She asked. Aaron nodded. Send it. She activated the transmitter. A deep hum filled the air, and a gentle wave of blue light passed through the old station. The signal carried across the planet, through space, and beyond. Not a call of fear, not a request for rescue. A declaration. This land is human land. We stand. We remain. The message continued to pulse, repeating again and again. Not loud, not desperate, steady. The Vorak noticed almost at once. Their patrols paused, their machines shifted, their commanders spoke in quiet signals to one another. They understood the meaning of a banner. They understood symbols. And they understood this one well. The humans had not accepted defeat. Jaren stood at the lookout point and watched the Vorak forces begin to move. Their formations grew more defined, their pace ready, their purpose clear. The final confrontation was approaching. He felt fear, but not the kind that crushed. He felt a deeper feeling rising, something strong and warm. He understood now. This was not just a battlefield. This was home. Aaron stood beside him and placed a hand on his shoulder. No matter what happens, Aaron said quietly, the world will remember that we stood here. Jaren nodded. And at that moment, though the enemy marched and the night grew darker, the valley did not feel lost. It felt alive. The land still belonged to humanity, and humanity was not finished. The sun rose slowly over the ruined plains, painting the battlefield in soft orange light. Smoke still drifted from shattered tanks and broken vehicles. The Vorak banners, tall and sharp, caught the morning glow, gleaming as if daring humans to challenge them. Yet amid the silence, a quiet determination pulsed from the human position. Captain Aaron Hale stood at the edge of the station, overlooking the valley. His eyes scanned the horizon. The Vorak had not advanced further since the previous day. Their patrols moved steadily, their machines precise, but something about them seemed cautious. They are waiting, Sergeant Riven said behind him. His voice was low, calm, but carried a hint of concern. They are studying us. They do not understand why we remain. Aaron did not reply at once. Instead, he turned to the small group behind him. Jaren, still young but already showing quiet courage. Lyra, whose hands had already repaired more machinery than many soldiers could imagine, and a few other veterans whose faces had been marked by long battles. Let them study, Aaron finally said. They may have power, they may have numbers, but they do not have heart. Lyra tilted her head slightly. Numbers can still matter, she said. If they decide to attack at full strength, we could lose everything. Aaron nodded. We know the risks, but losing hope is worse than losing a fight. Today we act. Not out of anger, not for revenge, but because we belong to this land and we refuse to let it fall quietly. The soldiers felt the weight of his words. Not heavy like a burden, but solid, like stone beneath their feet. Aaron gathered the team around a small table covered with maps, holographic displays, and bits of damaged machinery. Lyra activated a projection showing the positions of Vorak patrols. Blue lines and dots moved steadily across the valley, forming a web of control. Their fortress loomed in the distance, massive and cold, a combination of steel, energy, and sharp angles. They built their defenses assuming humans would attack with weapons, Lyra explained. They believe fear is our only weakness. But humans are unpredictable. We feel hope, we feel courage, we fight for each other. Their shield cannot measure that. Riven frowned. How can emotion affect machines? Lyra smiled faintly. Not the machines, exactly. The shield responds to signals, emotional resonance. Humans create signals of willpower, memory, unity. Fear triggers attacks, but courage is different. It can interfere with their calculations, confuse them. Jaren leaned closer, eyes wide. So we can fight them with hope? Aaron nodded. Yes, but it must be more than hope. It must be visible. They must see it, feel it, recognize that this land will never be theirs completely. The team understood. It was risky, almost impossible. But for humans, the impossible was only another challenge. Later that morning, the soldiers moved quietly across the broken fields. Their small transport vehicles carried supplies, spare weapons, and equipment needed for a special operation. Aaron led them along hidden paths that had once been farm roads. Each step was careful. They avoided Vorak patrols as much as possible. Captain, Jaren said softly, pointing ahead. Look, over there. In the distance, a small Vorak reconnaissance unit had stopped near a hilltop. Their armored forms were unmoving, scanning the valley below. Yet they were slow, almost mechanical, unaware of what the humans were planning. Aaron raised his hand, signaling for silence. He leaned close to Lyra. Time to test the signal, he said. Lyra nodded. She carried a small device no bigger than a human fist. It had been built to transmit subtle emotional pulses across short distances, to disrupt Vorak sensors. A faint blue light glowed from its core. Aaron crouched behind a pile of broken stone and whispered, Do it now. Lyra activated the device. A quiet hum spread through the air, almost too soft to hear. But as the hum reached the Vorak unit, their movement slowed. The sensors in their helmets blinked, uncertain. Machines whirred and paused. The alien soldiers glanced at one another, though their faces betrayed nothing. Keep moving, Aaron instructed. They cannot understand it yet. But they will. The human team crept forward, using the disruption to pass the patrol. Each step was tense, careful, but full of purpose. They were reclaiming the land in the smallest of ways. Not with fire or metal, but with courage and unity. By midday, the human team reached the edge of the central Vorak fortress. Its walls were tall, sleek, and deadly, glowing faintly with energy fields. From here, the Vorak could see much of the valley. Any attack would be obvious. Any misstep could be fatal. Aaron surveyed the fortress from a distance. He thought of the children who had once lived on this planet, the songs and laughter that had filled the air. He thought of the soldiers behind him, their determination shining brighter than any weapon. And he thought of the banner, folded carefully in his pack. This is the place, he said. Not to destroy them, not yet, but to remind them, humanity does not surrender. Riven gave a small nod. Then let us remind them well. They set up a small projection device on a hill overlooking the fortress. Lyra carefully connected it to a makeshift energy source. Its signal would broadcast a human symbol visible to Vorak sensors, a banner of unity and courage. Not just a flag, but a symbol of every human who had ever lived on Eden 47. Ready? Aaron asked. Ready, Lyra replied. With a soft hum, the device activated. The symbol appeared in the air, glowing blue, stretching across the valley like a small aurora. Machines in the fortress paused. Sensors tried to read it, but calculations failed. The Vorak did not understand. They had never seen anything like it. Inside the fortress, Vorak commanders studied the readings. Their voices were quiet, precise. "This is not a threat we recognize," one said. "The signal, it does not match any known human behavior, yet it persists." Their soldiers outside hesitated. Machines halted. The strange pulse, calm but strong, reached every corner of the fortress. Back on the hill, the human soldiers watched silently. No cheers, no shouting, just stillness. The quiet was heavier than any noise because it carried confidence. Aaron spoke softly. "Do you see? They cannot take what we carry inside. They cannot calculate the strength of hearts and memories. That is why we survive. That is why this land will never fully belong to them." Jaren's eyes shone with understanding. "It's beautiful," he whispered. "Even they cannot ignore it." "Yes," Aaron said. "And now we move forward. Carefully, but forward." As the sun began to set, the human team descended toward a hidden valley behind the fortress. They carried small devices, supplies, and the last remaining weapons. The plan was simple yet daring. They would disrupt the Vorak defenses and reclaim the ground symbolically before any large-scale battle began. Every step counted. Every choice mattered. Night fell. Stars shone brightly above, distant yet constant. The Vorak fortress glowed faintly, unaware of the humans moving beneath their gaze. Shadows danced across broken walls and scattered vehicles. The human soldiers moved with quiet precision, relying on trust, memory, and unity. At the center of the valley, the soldiers paused. The ground was broken, scorched from previous attacks, but the soil beneath was still Earth-like. Life had once grown here, and it could grow again. Aaron pulled out the small human banner. Though torn and faded, it still held meaning. He planted it carefully in the soft earth. It did not fly high like the Vorak banners, but it stood firm. Its presence was not a threat, but a statement. "Here," he said quietly. "Here is where we begin." Riven stepped forward and added a small device beside the banner. It pulsed faintly with human resonance, amplifying courage, unity, and memory. The Vorak systems, even from a distance, registered something unusual. Calculations failed. Signals scrambled. Confusion spread among the alien soldiers. For the first time, the humans had gained more than survival. They had made the Vorak hesitate. And hesitation was the first crack in an empire built on certainty. By dawn, the human team returned to their hidden station. They were tired but alive. Their spirits were higher than ever. Captain Aaron looked across the valley again. The banners of the Vorak still marked the fields, but now, human symbols glowed among the shadows. Jaren stood beside him, looking at the horizon. "Do you think they'll leave?" "They may try to advance again," Aaron said. "But they will always remember tonight. They will remember that humans refuse to give up. That is our strength. That is what makes us human. That is why this land will always belong to us. Because we fight with more than weapons. We fight with our hearts." The soldiers shared a quiet smile. No words could describe what they felt. Hope, courage, unity. It was enough to last through the darkest night, and somewhere deep in the valley, the human banner swayed in a soft breeze, tiny but unbroken. A signal to the Vorak, to the universe, and to themselves. They had not been defeated. They were still here, and they would fight for every inch of their world. The valley slept under a silver moon. Broken machines and cratered earth glistened faintly in the pale light. For the humans hidden in the ruined station, there was no rest. Every hour of darkness was an opportunity, and a danger. The Vorak, while puzzled by the human signals the previous night, had not ignored them. Their machines scanned relentlessly, their patrols moved quietly but purposefully, and their fortress loomed ever watchful. Captain Aaron Hale paced silently before the team, the soft hum of the equipment around them mixing with the quiet night air. The human banner they had planted earlier fluttered faintly behind him, a small but proud symbol of resistance. "We have done well so far," Aaron said. His voice was low but firm, steady, like the ground beneath them. "We made them hesitate. We reminded them that this land belongs to us. But hesitation will not last forever. They will strike again. Soon." Sergeant Riven, standing near the edge of the platform, nodded. "I've seen their formations," he said. "They are preparing something." The scouts report increased activity near the eastern ridge. They are likely gathering for an assault. Lyra, crouched beside a small console, adjusted the settings on the transmitter. Their sensors are still affected by the human signal, she said, but the Vorak adapt fast. If we do not act soon, they will find a way to counter us. We need to take the first move before they attack. Aaron looked at each member of his team, seeing not just soldiers, but humans with courage, hope, and determination burning in their hearts. Then we act, he said. Tonight we strike, not with anger, not with revenge, but with purpose. We remind them why humans never surrender. The plan was simple, yet risky. Using the cover of darkness, the team would approach a smaller Vorak outpost near the eastern ridge. From there, they would deploy devices similar to the one used the previous night, amplifying human presence, courage, and unity while disrupting the Vorak sensors. The goal was not to destroy the fortress, but to create confusion, hesitation, and a momentary opening. Jaren, standing at attention, felt a mix of fear and excitement. "Captain," he asked softly, "what if we fail?" Aaron placed a hand on his shoulder. "We do not fight knowing we will fail," he said quietly. "We fight because it is right to stand. Because it is our land. Because we are human. And humans always rise, even in impossible moments." Jaren nodded, understanding not with logic but with feeling. The team moved carefully across the ruined valley, keeping to shadows, avoiding patrols, and using every ruined vehicle and crater as cover. The wind whispered through the broken metal, carrying distant sounds of the Vorak machines. Every step was tense, yet every step was deliberate. As they approached the eastern ridge, a soft glow appeared ahead. The Vorak outpost was sleek and imposing, lit by faint energy lines that traced its edges. Guards patrolled in pairs, moving slowly, almost mechanically. They were efficient, trained, and deadly, but the human team had a plan that went beyond brute strength. Aaron crouched behind a large rock, signaling the others to stop. "This is it," he whispered. "Positions." Lyra placed the first device on a small mound near the outpost. A soft blue pulse spread from it, barely visible, yet strong enough to interfere with the Vorak sensors. Immediately, some of the patrols paused. Machines whirred, confused by the unfamiliar readings. One Vorak soldier turned in a direction that no command had signaled, its movements unsteady for a brief moment. "Good," Riven muttered. "Keep going." Another device was set further up the ridge. Jaren carried it, hands shaking slightly, but steady. Every pulse of blue light was a declaration. Humanity refuses to yield. Humanity will fight with heart and mind, not just weapons. The Vorak outpost was in disarray before the humans even struck physically. Guards hesitated, machines flickered, and the energy shields around the outpost fluctuated. Confusion spread faster than fire through dry grass. Suddenly, the first alarm sounded, a soft mechanical hum that quickly became a sharper warning. The Vorak had noticed something, but it was already too late. The human team had planted their final device, sending a synchronized pulse of courage and unity directly into the fortress's sensor network. "Now!" Aaron shouted. The humans leapt into action. Small, precise strikes disabled critical Vorak machinery. Jaren threw a small EMP device, causing a temporary blackout in a portion of the outpost. Riven and two other soldiers moved in carefully, taking control of the perimeter. Lyra monitored the Vorak systems, adjusting the pulses to keep them off balance. For the first time, the humans had turned the battlefield in their favor, not through overwhelming force, but through intelligence, courage, and unity. The Vorak soldiers outside the fortress hesitated, confused. Their orders no longer made sense. Machines whirred in loops, unable to interpret the signals. Commanders inside the fortress tried to regain control, but the pulses disrupted everything. Aaron stood at the edge of the ridge, observing. "This is what it means to fight as humans," he said quietly. "We are more than tactics. We are more than numbers. We fight with everything we carry inside." Despite the success, the human team knew the battle was far from over. The Vorak would soon adapt, regroup, and strike back. But tonight, they had done something impossible. They had created an opening. They had reminded the enemy that humans were unpredictable, resourceful, and fearless. Jaren, breathing heavily, looked around at the glowing pulses of their devices. "We did it," he whispered. "We actually did it." "Not yet," Aaron said gently. "We did well, but the battle is only beginning. Remember this moment, Jaren. Remember it when the next wave comes. Remember that we can challenge the impossible." As dawn approached, the team retreated carefully to their hidden station. The valley remained quiet, but the effect of their actions rippled across the Vorak ranks. Machines continued to malfunction, sensors sent incorrect readings, and commanders debated what had caused the disruption. For the first time, doubt had entered the minds of the Vorak. Inside the human station, the soldiers rested briefly. Exhaustion weighed on them, but their spirits soared. They had achieved something more than survival. They had made the enemy pause, hesitate, and recognize that humans would not be conquered easily. Aaron looked at the human banner again. Its edges were torn, its colors faded, yet it stood tall, a small beacon against the vastness of the valley. "This is why we fight," he said softly. "Not just for survival, not just for ground, but for every human life, every memory, every hope. This land belongs to those who refuse to let it go." Lyra smiled faintly. "And tonight we reminded them." Riven placed a hand on Jaren's shoulder. "They will not forget. Not now. Not ever." Hours passed in quiet preparation. The human soldiers repaired equipment, shared rations, and whispered words of encouragement. The night had been hard, but it had proven something essential. Humans do not bend to fear. Humans adapt, endure, and overcome. Aaron stood once more on the edge of the station, gazing at the distant Vorak fortress. Its glowing walls were a reminder that the enemy still existed, that the fight was far from over, yet he felt something strong within him, stronger than fear or exhaustion. Hope. "This is only the beginning," he whispered. "The next battle will be harder, but we are ready. We are human, and as long as we stand, even one of us, this land will never fully belong to them." Jaren stood beside him, eyes wide with awe and pride. "I understand now, Captain. We are not just soldiers. We are the heart of this land." "Yes," Aaron said, "and the heart never yields." The stars above shone brightly, distant yet eternal. The valley slept, but humanity had awakened in the hearts of its defenders. And somewhere, deep within the ruins, the human banner swayed gently, a small, unbroken symbol of courage, hope, and the truth that humanity will always fight for what is theirs. The valley lay in a heavy, quiet haze as dawn broke. Smoke drifted lazily over shattered machines and scorched earth, hiding the scars of previous battles. The Vorak banners, sharp and metallic, still marked the ground, but something in the air had shifted. Even the wind seemed to whisper that the battle was far from over. Captain Aaron Hale stood at the edge of a small ridge, surveying the valley. Behind him, his team gathered silently, the weight of exhaustion and determination alike pressing on them. They had survived the first strike, disrupted the Vorak sensors, and made their presence felt. Yet Aaron knew this was only the beginning. The enemy still held the fortress, and their numbers were greater, their machines stronger. Sergeant Riven stood beside him, quietly scanning the distant patrols. "They are reorganizing," he said. "They have realized last night's disruption. Their formations are tighter now. They will move soon." Aaron nodded, eyes fixed on the distant fortress. "Then we must act before they strike again," he said. "We must remind them, no matter their machines, no matter their strength, that humanity refuses to yield." Lyra stepped forward, holding a small, glowing device. Her hands were steady, even though her face was pale from lack of rest. "This is it," she said softly. "If we place this correctly, it will amplify the signal from last night. The Vorak shields cannot calculate it. They do not understand human courage, memory, and hope." Jaren, standing beside the others, looked at the device. "It's small," he said, almost in disbelief. "Can something so tiny really make a difference?" Aaron smiled faintly. It is not the size that matters, Jaren. It is what it carries. This device carries everything humans fight for, everything humans remember, everything humans are. The team moved carefully across the broken valley, keeping to shadows and ruined walls. Every step was calculated, every sound minimized. The Vorak patrols moved with precision, but even their disciplined movements could not sense what humans carried inside: the courage, the memories, the unyielding spirit. As they neared the central fortress, a patrol unit appeared ahead. Vorak soldiers moved in their usual rigid formation, their mechanical movements almost hypnotic. Aaron signaled the team to stop. He crouched behind a large, scorched vehicle and whispered, "We go now, but we do not rush. Let them see us. Let them understand our resolve before they strike." Lyra activated the first device. A soft blue hum spread quietly across the ground. Machines in the Vorak patrol flickered, sensors misreading, movements slowing, the alien soldiers hesitating as if confused by something they could not name. "Keep moving," Aaron instructed. Every step, every pulse is a statement. Jaren carried the second device, moving cautiously along the cracked earth. Each hum of the device amplified the human presence. It was not weapons or fire. It was something more powerful. Proof that humanity's heart cannot bend. The devices sent waves of emotion, a mixture of hope, memory, and courage, flowing silently but powerfully through the valley. For the first time, the Vorak soldiers outside the fortress faltered. Their steps were uneven, their machines whirred in confusion. They had been trained to conquer, to calculate, to predict. But this was different. Humans had brought something that no algorithm could measure. Inside the fortress, Vorak commanders analyzed the readings. Their screens flickered with unreadable signals. "The humans," one said, its voice precise but low, "they are disrupting calculations. This is not fear. This is not aggression. What is it?" Another shook its head. "It is impossible. Systems cannot interpret their essence." Outside, the human team continued their advance, calm but unyielding. Aaron looked at the horizon, at the fortress bathed in faint morning light. "They cannot calculate courage," he said quietly. "They cannot measure memory, hope, or the will to protect what is yours. That is why we endure." Riven glanced at him. "And that is why we fight. Not because we must, but because we refuse to give up." The devices now reached their full power, sending pulses across the valley and into the fortress. The Vorak shields began to waver, flickering like a candle in the wind. Machines malfunctioned. Sensors scrambled. For the first time, hesitation spread through the enemy ranks, not because of fear, but because they could not understand the strength of human hearts. Aaron signaled the team forward. They moved with quiet precision, positioning themselves near the fortress walls. This was not yet a full assault. It was a demonstration, a reminder, a statement. Humanity refuses to yield. Humanity will reclaim what is theirs. Jaren planted a small beacon at the base of the fortress wall. Its pulse spread through the ground, amplifying the devices already in place. Lyra adjusted the settings, ensuring the signal was steady. The Vorak inside the fortress paused, scanning the area frantically, unable to counter the pulse. "It's working," Lyra whispered, eyes wide. "Their shield is faltering. The fortress sensors cannot hold it." Aaron stepped forward, holding the human banner. He planted it on a small rise near the base of the fortress, the torn fabric glowing faintly in the morning light. It did not fly high like the Vorak banners, but its presence carried meaning. Every Vorak soldier who could see it sensed something they could not understand. This was not a weapon. This was a human statement. A heart that does not bend. Riven watched silently, arms folded. "They will not take this easily," he said. But for the first time they hesitate. The human team held their position, steady and calm. They did not celebrate. They did not shout. They simply waited, allowing the Vorak to see that their machines could not overpower what humans carried within. Inside the fortress, confusion spread. The Vorak commanders tried to regain control, but every calculation failed. Machines designed to predict human behavior could not comprehend unity, hope, or courage. The shields flickered, then wavered, and for the first time, vulnerability appeared. Outside, the human team moved as one. Every step was deliberate, every action calculated, but driven not by fear or anger, but by purpose. Jaren, for the first time, felt a surge of pride. "We are doing it," he whispered. "We are really doing it." Aaron placed a hand on his shoulder. "Yes, Jaren," he said. "This is what it means to fight as humans. Not just with weapons, but with heart, with unity, with memory, and with courage. That is our strength. That is what makes us human." The pulses from the devices grew stronger, spreading across the fortress and valley. Machines faltered, shields wavered, and soldiers hesitated. The Vorak, trained for precision and discipline, could not predict or counter the human spirit. Aaron looked around at his team. They were tired, their faces marked by the struggle of previous battles, yet their eyes shone with resolve. This was the turning point, the moment where the impossible became possible, the moment where humanity reclaimed its own power, not through brute force but through unbreakable heart. "Hold position," Aaron commanded. "Let them see us. Let them understand that no banner, no fortress, no army can claim what humans carry inside." Jaren watched the Vorak soldiers hesitate. Machines stuttered. For the first time, the enemy faced uncertainty. And uncertainty is the greatest weapon of all. The human banner swayed gently in the breeze, a small symbol against the vast fortress. Yet its meaning was immense. This battlefield, though scarred and broken, still belonged to humanity. By midday, the Vorak began to withdraw slightly from the immediate area around the devices. Their shields were still operational, but the human pulses had created cracks in their confidence, hesitation in their movements. For the first time, the humans had gained the upper hand, not through weapons, but through unity, memory, and courage. Captain Aaron surveyed the valley. The sun glinted off the scattered ruins, highlighting broken machines, scorched earth, and human banners standing among the wreckage. The team gathered quietly around him. "Today," Aaron said, "we reminded them. They may still fight, they may still try to take what is ours, but they cannot break our hearts, they cannot take our memory, our courage, our unity. That is why this land will never fully belong to them." Jaren smiled, finally understanding. "It is not just the battlefield," he said. "It is everything we carry. That is what makes us human." "Yes," Aaron said softly, "and that is why we will never fall. We fight not because we must survive, but because we will endure. And as long as even one of us stands, this battlefield is still ours." The devices continued to pulse, quiet but strong, as the human team held their ground. The Vorak retreated slightly, uncertain, cautious, and unprepared for the next move. Humanity had made its mark. Humanity had shown that no army, no shield, and no empire could ever truly claim a world where the people refused to surrender. And somewhere, deep in the valley, the human banner swayed gently in the morning wind, a quiet, unbroken symbol. Humanity stands. Humanity endures. Humanity will never bend. The sun rose over the valley, bright and warm, washing the broken battlefield in golden light. Smoke from destroyed machines and scorched earth rose slowly into the sky, marking the scars of past battles. The Vorak fortress, tall and imposing, still loomed across the valley. Its walls glimmered with energy fields, yet the flicker of uncertainty could now be seen in the alien machines and soldiers. Captain Aaron Hale stood at the ridge, looking at the fortress. Behind him, his team gathered silently, the weight of exhaustion and resolve heavy on their shoulders. The human banners swayed gently in the morning breeze, small yet proud symbols of determination. Today would not be a battle of numbers or firepower. It would be a battle of will. Sergeant Riven, standing at Aaron's side, scanned the valley. "They are preparing," he said quietly. "Their numbers are increasing. They may try a full assault. We cannot stay hidden forever," Aaron nodded. "Then we meet them on our terms," he said. "Not with panic or fear. Not with anger. But with everything that makes us human." Lyra adjusted the settings on the devices they had planted across the valley. Each one sent a continuous pulse of human presence, courage, unity, and memory. The Vorak sensors, which had faltered yesterday, now struggled even more. Machines whirred, shields flickered, and the alien soldiers moved uncertainly. Jaren stood quietly behind the others, his eyes wide. "Captain, do you really think we can win?" he asked. Aaron placed a hand on his shoulder. "Jaren," he said softly, "we already are winning. Not because we destroy them with force, but because we cannot be broken. This battlefield is ours, not by steel, but by spirit." The Vorak moved first. From the fortress, waves of soldiers advanced, their machines humming and clanking. They believed in their strength, their discipline, and their certainty. Yet every step they took was met with human resolve. The devices pulsed steadily, each one a beacon of defiance. Machines miscalculated. Guards hesitated. The alien soldiers did not understand why they faltered, but humans did. Aaron raised his hand, signaling the team forward. "Hold nothing back," he said. "Show them who we are." The soldiers moved as one, not recklessly, but with calm precision. They did not fire blindly. They did not rush. Every action was deliberate. Every step was a message, and the message was clear. Humanity stands. Humanity endures. Humanity will fight for every inch of their world. Jaren carried the final device, placing it at the foot of the fortress. The pulse spread outward like waves across the valley. The Vorak shields wavered violently. Machines sparked and halted. Soldiers froze. Confusion rippled through the ranks. Even their commanders could not understand it. For the first time, doubt had entered the minds of the Vorak conquerors. Inside the fortress, alarms rang endlessly. The Vorak commanders moved quickly, but every decision they made was flawed. Their systems could not calculate human courage, could not measure memory, and could not predict hope. Every command sent to soldiers in the field conflicted with the pulses of unity spreading across the valley. Aaron watched quietly, a small smile on his face. "This is what it means to fight as humans," he whispered. "Not just with weapons, but with heart, memory, and willpower. That is why we endure. That is why this land cannot belong to them." The Vorak, trained for precision and victory, faltered at every turn. Their machines glitched, their shields flickered, and their soldiers hesitated. Every hesitation was an opening. Every pause was a chance. And the humans took it. The first clash came near the base of the fortress. Aaron led a small group forward, banners held high. Not for attack alone, but as a statement. The blue pulses from the devices amplified their presence. The Vorak soldiers, confused and hesitant, found themselves unable to respond effectively. Machines misfired. Shields dropped. Their rigid formations fell apart. Sergeant Riven moved with precise efficiency, disabling key Vorak machines and creating pathways for the humans to advance. Lyra adjusted devices in real time, keeping the pulses strong and continuous. Jaren, moving carefully but bravely, carried supplies and assisted where needed. Every human, no matter their role, contributed to the same goal, reclaiming the land. The fortress gates, massive and metallic, trembled under the weight of human will. It was not firepower that caused the first cracks, it was spirit. The Vorak shields could not calculate courage. The Vorak soldiers could not anticipate hope. And the humans, united and unwavering, advanced steadily. Inside the fortress, panic spread among the Vorak. Their systems failed repeatedly, unable to understand the pulses. Commands contradicted each other. Guards froze. Machines glitched. Even the elite Vorak units trained for impossible odds faltered. They had underestimated humans, not their numbers, not their weapons, but their hearts. Aaron signaled the team forward again. "Push steadily," he said. "Every step, every action is a statement. Humanity stands." The human banners swayed in the wind, each one a small flame of defiance against the steel fortress. Soldiers advanced with calm determination. Each device pulsed. Every human carried courage. And the fortress for the first time seemed less certain. Its walls, though tall and strong, could not withstand the truth of human spirit. On the highest ridge overlooking the valley, Aaron paused. He could see the entire battlefield. Broken machines, scarred earth, and swaying banners all spoke the same truth. Humanity had endured. Humanity had adapted. Humanity had resisted. And now they were reclaiming what had been theirs all along. Jaren stood beside him, eyes wide. "We're really doing it," he said. "Yes," Aaron said softly. "Not because we are stronger in steel, but because we are stronger in heart." Because we remember what we fight for. Because we never give up. That is what makes us human. Below, the Vorak faltered completely. Machines sparked, soldiers froze, shields collapsed. The fortress gates shook, and for the first time the humans entered with purpose, not fear. Every step was met with hesitation from the enemy. Every pulse of courage spread like wildfire, leaving no room for control. Inside the fortress, the Vorak commanders finally understood what they had underestimated. Humans, one said slowly, almost in awe. They fight differently. Not with fear, not with anger, but with will. The realization came too late. The humans had breached key areas, disabled critical systems, and planted banners in every hall and courtyard. The fortress, though still standing, was no longer a symbol of absolute power. It had been challenged, and that challenge had succeeded. Aaron led the final group into the central hall. Machines sparked and shields flickered. Vorak soldiers hesitated, unable to respond effectively. And there, at the heart of the fortress, Aaron planted the largest human banner he carried. Its colors, though worn, shone brightly in the morning light. This, he said quietly, is what it means to fight as humans. Not because we must survive, but because we will endure. Not because we have the strongest weapons, but because we carry the strongest hearts. Outside, the valley seemed to breathe with relief. The pulses from the devices continued, spreading courage and unity across every inch of the battlefield. The Vorak, though not destroyed, had lost confidence. Their precision, their certainty, their claim on the land had been broken. Humanity had reclaimed it, not fully by force, but fully in spirit. Sergeant Riven looked at Aaron. They may return, he said. They may regroup, Aaron smiled faintly. Let them, he said. Every inch we hold is theirs to challenge, but they cannot take what we carry inside. And as long as even one human stands, this battlefield will never fully belong to them. Jaren stepped forward, looking at the banners waving gently in the wind. It's ours, he whispered. Yes, Aaron said. It always was, and it always will be. The soldiers stood silently for a moment, letting the sun warm their tired bodies and hearts. They had survived, they had reclaimed the land, and they had proven a truth that no machine, no army, and no empire could ever erase. Humanity does not surrender. Humanity endures. Humanity owns its spirit and its world forever. As the day rose higher, the valley no longer felt like a place of fear or ruin. It was alive again, alive with courage, memory, and hope. The Vorak retreated, their plans undone not by firepower but by heart. The human banners swayed proudly in the breeze, a quiet, unbroken symbol of strength. Captain Aaron Hale looked across the battlefield one final time. The land was scarred, but it was human. The valley, the hills, and every ruined town belonged not because of conquest, but because of unbreakable spirit. This battlefield, he whispered, was theirs for a moment, but it never truly belonged to them. It belongs to us. It always has. And it always will. Jaren, Riven, Lyra, and the other soldiers stood beside him. No words were needed. The banners swayed. The devices pulsed. The machines were silent. The heart of humanity beat stronger than ever. The Vorak had claimed the battlefield, but humanity had reclaimed it in spirit, and that, Captain Aaron knew, was a victory no one could ever take away.